Hi everybody, it's Miss Caitlin with Plant the Seed. I'm so excited to be back filming more videos about your second take-home kit from Plant the Seed. And this time we have a really exciting topic to share. It's all about this in my hands. Does anybody know what this is? That's right, it's a pumpkin. So this take-home kit's gonna be all about pumpkins. We're gonna get to use our 5 senses to explore our pumpkin on the outside and the inside. And then we're even gonna be able to save some seeds so we can plant them next year in the spring, so we can grow our own pumpkins. So go ahead and join me, and we're gonna go ahead and get started with this take-home kit. Before we get started with exploring our pumpkin, we're going to need to cut it open so we can explore the inside and the outside. So go ahead and grab a parent or guardian and ask them to take a knife. And I just have a little steak knife here that I used to cut the top. I already went ahead and did that just so it was done. But you just cut a little hole around the top so then you can get to the inside of your pumpkin. So go ahead and have a parent or guardian do that now. And then after that has been done, we're going to go ahead and take the top off. I'm going to put it to the side on a little plate that I have with a paper towel on it because we are going to be cleaning the inside of our pumpkin. So I just have my spoon here, and we're going to go ahead and just take that, and we're just going to dig around inside to get all of those seeds out that we see inside, and we're just going to put them to the side. Just going to put them on that paper towel to start drying off, because whenever we save our seeds, we want them to be nice and dry, so whenever we put them in the envelope, it doesn't rot for next year. All right, so as we are exploring the inside of our pumpkin and we're getting our seeds out and we're seeing the pulp and the seeds and we're seeing the inside of it, we're going to be using our 5 senses to explore it. So let's go over this while we're cleaning out our pumpkin. The very first sense is our sense of sight, so with our eyes. So we're looking at the outside of the pumpkin, we're looking at the inside of the pumpkin, we're looking at the different colors on the outside and the inside. And then what is the outside color of this pumpkin? It starts with an O. That's right, it's orange. The outside of our pumpkin is orange. And then the inside of our pumpkin, it's like a lightish orange, almost like a yellow color. So the outside of our pumpkin is orange, and the inside is like a light yellow or a light orange color. And then on the outside of our pumpkin, we can also see that there's some darker spots on one side, and on the other, there's not any of those really. And the darker spots shows where this pumpkin was growing. And so whenever the pumpkin grows, it grows on the ground like this, and these darker spots you see on the outside are where it was growing on the ground. So try to find that on your pumpkin. Find the part that is a little bit darker on one side where it might be a little bit green or a little bit brown, and then find the part that doesn't have those so you can tell from where it was growing and then where it was facing the sun while it was growing. So that was our sense of sight. We were looking at the colors on the inside and the outside. And then also looking inside, you can see the seeds. I still have lots of seeds in there. And then I also have some pulp. That is the stringy stuff that you find inside of the pumpkin. And that's called the pulp of the pumpkin. So let's see if it makes any noise. I want you to take your hand and I want you to really explore the inside of this pumpkin and see if you can hear anything. It sounds kind of squishy on the inside, kind of like you're walking through mud. That's what it sounds like. Let's see if the outside sounds like anything. Sounds like somebody's knocking on the door. It sounds hollow on the inside because there's not really a lot in there, right? And so whenever it's hollow, it makes that noise like you're knocking on a door or you're knocking on a piece of wood or something else. So that's the sound, the different sounds that our pumpkin makes. The outside makes a different sound than the inside, which is really cool. The third is we're actually going to taste our pumpkin. So I want you to take one of those stringy parts, that pulp, and I just want you to take a little bite. It tastes like pumpkin is what it reminds me of. See if you can compare it to anything else you've ever had. If you can compare it to maybe another type of pumpkin or gourd, like a butternut squash or a spaghetti squash, see if this reminds you of that, because these are all in the same plant family. They're all gourds. So our 4th sense is touch. And so we're going to touch the outside, and we're going to touch the inside, and we're going to see how it feels. The outside is really hard, and the inside is kind of squishy like we were talking about earlier whenever we were seeing if it made a noise. And then the outside also has ridges on it. Do you see those? So I feel those whenever I move my hand over the outside. So the outside is kind of bumpy but smooth, and then it's hard, and then the inside is kind of squishy and soft, which is so cool. The inside is completely different than the outside. And then the last thing, our last sense is going to be our sense of smell. And so we're going to take our noses and we're going to smell. See what the inside smells like. It smells kind of earthy. It smells a lot like a pumpkin. It's hard to describe the exact smell, but if you know what a pumpkin smells like, that's what this smells like. Let's see if the outside smells like anything. Not really. It doesn't really have a scent to it, but the inside definitely smells like a pumpkin though. So I want you to take your time and use your 5 senses as you're cleaning out your seeds and you're just in here getting these out. I want you to observe how the seeds feel too. Are the seeds soft? Are they hard? Are they dry? Are they wet? Maybe they're a little slimy because inside of a pumpkin's kind of slimy. And just see what you're thinking. I want you to also observe the pulp as you get it out of your pumpkin too. And see if the pulp feels different than the seeds. What does the pulp remind you of? It kind of reminds me of silly string. So explore your pumpkin, put your hand in it, and then just feel. I want you to really get in there and explore your pumpkin. And then we're going to move on to our next activity, which is going to be seed saving from our pumpkin seeds. So for our next activity, our seed saving, we're going to want to get all of our pumpkin seeds that we can out of our pumpkin. So I'm just going to put them over here on my paper towel that I have so then they can start to dry. I'm just going to spread them out so they're in one layer so they can start to dry before we save them. Like I said earlier, we don't want our pumpkin seeds to be wet because if they're wet and then we put them in an envelope to dry until next year, they can rot and then they won't be very good to plant into the ground. So we want to make sure that these are nice and dry before we put them in their seed envelope for next year. So just get your spoon in there and scrape out as much as you can, as many pumpkin seeds as you can find. If you have time, you could even count how many that you have and then share that with us, how many pumpkin seeds you're able to find inside of your pumpkin. So I'm just going to keep scraping. It's okay if it's not perfect, if there's still some left in there. That's totally okay. We're just going to get out as many as we can. All right, I just have a few more, and then I'm going to say this one is good to go. Perfect. So put those little strings back in there. And then I have all of my pumpkin seeds on my plate with my paper towel underneath that you have in your box. And then these are ready to be saved for next year. All right, so like I said, I have all of my seeds right here ready to go. You can also rinse these off to get the pulp off. You can use like a colander or you can just run them over water in a bowl and then you can get all of that slime off. Then I'm going to take another paper towel and I'm just going to lightly press the top. And I'm actually going to leave this like this for a few days so it can dry really, really well. Whenever you're drying these, you don't want to leave them in direct sunlight. You want them to be kind of off by themselves in a cool space as they continue to dry. This will take about 2 to 3 days like this for them to fully dry. Just go ahead and check them every day, and then once they feel dry and there's not any more of that wetness on them, they'll be ready to go. And then with your little seed packet that you have, you can go ahead, and we want to make sure we write on our seed packet. This is where all of our dried seeds are going to go, so we have them to plant for next year. On this, you want to write what you have. So we have pumpkin seeds, so I'm going to write pumpkin. Do we know how to spell pumpkin? Let's do it together. P, U, M, P, K, I, N, pumpkin. So we're going to write the pumpkin, and then we're going to write seeds. And we spell seeds S-E-E-D-S. 2 E's, so it's going to be E, and then D, and then again, seeds. So it's going to look like this after you've written it on there, pumpkin seeds. And then I'm going to write today's date so we know whenever we put them in here. So we're going to write 10, 14, 20. So you need to go ahead and write the date on there that you put your pumpkin seeds in. Well, I guess it should actually be for like the 16th because it's going to be a couple days for these to dry. So we're actually going to put 10/16 on there because that's whenever we're going to put the seeds in the packet. So I just went ahead and fixed that real fast. I put 10/16. So just check these every day to see when they're dry, and then after they're dry, put them in your little seed packet that we just created, and they'll be good to go. So also in your kits, you're going to have a magnifying glass. It doesn't look exactly like this one, but with your magnifying glass, we want you to use this to take your pumpkin, and we want you to look inside of your pumpkin too. And it turns out that the closer you hold the magnifying glass to the object, the bigger it looks. So you want to hold it close to your object so it's bigger. And so we want you to take your magnifying glass and really look inside that pumpkin, hold it closer to your object, and just look really far in there and see what you see. We also want you to look at your seeds, which I have right over here. We want to look at our seeds with our magnifying glass too and see what we can see close up. They're so big under the magnifying glass. Wow. So we want you to use your magnifying glass to really take a closer look at the pumpkin and explore it in a whole different way. And use your sense of sight to really see what the pumpkin looks like close up. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a lot of fun doing this with you, and I hope that you enjoyed it as well. This is all of the activities for your second take-home kit all about pumpkins from Plant the Seed. I'm excited to share with you another set of videos next month for our next take-home kit from Plant the Seed. All right, y'all, have a great week. Thank you.